Good day, philosophers. I am Robin Izar F. Bordo, and I will be presenting to you my repetitio on the reading The Human Person as Gottsucher in the Thought of Max Scheler by John F. Crosby. So the question that is being addressed in the reading is that what fundamentally constitutes the human person as a person? Is it rational intelligence alone, or is it religious transcendence toward God? To this, I answer that the human person is constituted as a person not merely by rationality or intelligence, but by religious transcendence, by being essentially a Gottsucher, a seeker of God. I say this because Scheler argues that intelligence alone does not distinguish humans in kind from animals. What distinguishes humans essentially is their capacity to transcend the finite and to seek the infinite. Moreover, I say this due to the fact that religious act awakens world openness, freedom, and objectivity, or in German, Sachlichkeit, which are central features of spiritual personhood. And then third, I say this since the restlessness and estrangement that humans feel toward the world reveal an orientation toward God that is woven into the structure of personal existence itself. To illustrate the first point, consider moments when I conduct a choir and notice that musical skill alone does not make any sacred music truly sacred. What makes it different from performance art is the orientation toward God in prayer. As an example for the second point, imagine a rehearsal where I suddenly step back from technical perfection and ask what the text or what the piece truly means in relation to God. That shift transforms music from an activity that is bound to the environment into a world open relationship. And as regards the third point, I myself experienced restlessness after beautifully executed liturgies that still felt incomplete, as if something greater was being sought beyond sound and harmony. However, other people may say that rational self-consciousness and moral agency are sufficient to define personhood without invoking God. Regarding the second point, others object that world openness and freedom can arise from philosophical reflection or science, not necessarily from religious transcendence. And to the third point, other thinkers claim that existential restlessness does not prove orientation toward God. It may simply reflect evolutionary dissatisfaction or psychological anxiety. To answer the first objection, I answer that rationality and moral agency themselves presuppose a capacity to transcend the finite. Without some orientation to the absolute, rationality collapses into instrumental intelligence. To the second, I reply that philosophical reflection and scientific inquiry already presuppose the deeper structure of transcendence that makes the infinite horizon intelligible. And as to the third point, I say that the universality and depth of existential restlessness point beyond mere survival mechanisms. Anxiety about meaning differs qualitatively from biological dissatisfaction. To illustrate my answers, first, when choir members focus only on technique, the music becomes precise but spiritually flat. When they sing as prayer, something essentially different that emerges, something irreducible to skill. Second, when studying a mass setting, the intellectual analysis of harmony naturally leads to contemplation of the sacred text. Reflection opens toward transcendence. And third, after deeply prayerful liturgies, the sense of longing intensifies rather than disappears, suggesting that the longing is oriented toward something infinite, not finite success. In conclusion, I say that the human person is not merely an intelligent organism, but a being whose very structure is transcendence toward God. Our freedom, world openness, and existential restlessness all reveal that we are constituted as persons precisely by being seekers of the divine. and objections that attempt to reduce this structure to rationality or psychology fail to account for the depth and universality of this transcendence. My insights on this: first, religious transcendence is not an added layer to human life, it is the deepest dimension of personhood. Second, art, especially sacred music, becomes fully itself only when ordered toward transcendence. And third, estrangement from God paradoxically confirms our orientation toward Him. To apply these insights, first, in liturgical ministry, we must prioritize prayerful transcendence over technical excellence alone. Second, we must cultivate interior recollection or samlong, I don't know how to pronounce, so that freedom and objectivity deepen. And then third, instead of fearing spiritual restlessness, we must recognize it as a sign of authentic personhood. That would be all. Thank you.